Let's begin with our top focus. Once again, you have a war of words between the AAP and the centre. The stakes are being raised in the fight between the AAP and the Delhi LG. Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has now submitted an affidavit in the top court stating that there are several issues that the party is facing when it comes to dealing with the government officials. He's also gone on to add that the appointment of Delhi's LG, VK Saxena, has only made it worse. The centre has now told the Supreme Court that the Aam Aadmi Party is bringing an unnecessary political slugfest to the court. So as I pointed out, another day of a political slugfest between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi LG. You also have an attack coming in from the BJP. So a lot of developments taking place. Very important to note here, the Supreme Court has also told Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia that bringing this affidavit at the last hour in the political arena, the slugfest is only increasing. It was unnecessary when the constitutional issue relating to disputes over services between Delhi and centre is fixed on the 24th of November. Let me bring in my colleague and our legal correspondent, Ananya Bhatnagar, who's been tracking all these developments for us. Ananya, what really is happening?
Well, definitely the explosive affidavit that came in that CNN News 18 had broken last morning clearly suggested that the bureaucrats are not listening, in fact, to the ministers in the Delhi government, and this was a clear complaint of the affidavit that was filed by the Delhi government in the tussle between the centre and the state. But now today, when urgent mentioning was made for the hearing of this particular matter, it was clearly said by CJI Chandrachud that this affidavit is basically, it won't comment on that particular affidavit, and in fact there was no need to file it. But at the same point of time, the central government has said that the Aam Aadmi Party is trying to bring the political slugfest in the arena of the court, and in fact the Supreme Court too said that it won't allow, in fact the Supreme Court to become a political arena, it won't allow, the conflict should stay out. And the only thing that the Supreme Court will dwell upon is the constitutionality of this particular matter with regards to whether the services would go to the Delhi government or to the central government, which basically means that whether the transfers and postings would be done by the central government or the Delhi government. Because remember that the affidavit also spoke that the frequent transfers of the heads of the departments of Delhi government is basically causing a lot of problems to, in fact, the Delhi government in operating. Apart from that, what was also said that senior officers who were the heads of departments had not attended the meetings that were called by the ministers, and in fact a long list was given out to as to when and which minister had called that meeting, and the particular department's head was not available for that meeting. In fact, it has also been alleged by the Aam Aadmi Party, the Delhi government, the affidavit that has been filed through the Delhi Deputy Chief Manish Sisodia, that the files are not being sent properly to the Delhi ministers. And so a big charge by the Aam Aadmi Party being throttled by the centre before the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court clearly saying that it would only dwell upon the constitutional aspect of this particular matter. Because remember that this is not the first time that the Delhi and centre are at a loggerheads, because we've seen it in a lot of cases. Whether we talk of the appointments of the SPPs in the Delhi riots case, there was also a scuffle that happened between the centre and the state in fact the Delhi High Court, or we talk of other matters. A similar position happens whenever the centre and the Delhi government comes in front of each other, and we see such statements and such affidavits coming in all the time. But then this time the Supreme Court said that there is no need of it. The constitutional validity would only be the subject matter of this particular debate, and that's the reason why the Supreme Court said that on November 24th, when the matter is heard, it will only be dwelling upon the constitutionality aspect of this.
Okay, Ananya, we leave the conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let me also now bring in our guest to take this conversation forward. We have a lawyer and political analyst, Deshratan Nigam. We also have Ravi Srivastava, a political analyst. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Deshratan Nigam, I'd like to begin the conversation with you. What is the essential takeaway as far as the affidavit which has been put forward by the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, Manish Sisodia? And I'm quoting from it. It's gone on to say that the LG, as far as the national capital is concerned, is jeopardizing the work of the government. He's also gone on to say that officials are not attending meetings, they're not taking calls with ministers. The LG is penalizing officers for cooperating with the elected government. also gone on to say frequent transfer of heads of department, it actually leaves gaps in policy implementation, and there is a complete lack of cooperation, which is leading to a deficit as far as the work of the government is concerned. Do you feel these are valid concerns?
Ridhima, in fact, this appears to be a politically motivated affidavit rather than a legal and a constitutional one. I didn't see any issues related to constitutionality of the powers of the Lieutenant Governor of the Delhi government as, given by the amendment in the Constitution. Therefore, it clearly is, and the center is right when it says it is bringing political slugfest within the domain of the court, which is actually required to listen the constitutionality of a particular provision. Hence, I don't think this will be of much importance in a court. And if you also recall, the Lieutenant Governor had returned 47 files that was to be signed by the Chief Minister, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, but he did not sign it. He made the bureaucrats sign it, who did not have the power, and abdicated his responsibility, duly constituted responsibility and authority, and therefore those files were returned. And that particular, signing of the 47 files by the bureaucrat clearly goes against what is being said in this present affidavit. So this is highly contradictory, where bureaucrats are made to sign where they do not have the power, and the Chief Minister who's supposed to sign the file did not sign, and hence the Lieutenant Governor rightfully, returned those files.
Okay.
And
but I'm looking at some data as well, Deshratan Nigam. If you just look at the last 5 months, I'm understanding there were about 20 meetings that were called by the Delhi Environment Minister, of which only one was attended by the Additional Chief Secretary or the Principal Secretary of the Environment and Forest Departments. And why were these meetings important? Because they were called to discuss critical issues such as the Winter Pollution Act plan of 2022 and others. So if you don't get cooperation from officers, okay, I apologize for